Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to WICCI May team. Today, we are going to be speaking about men and women collaborating at workplace with Rudran. Firstly, thank you, Angela and Kirabai, for being the best work teammates for the month of May. I have thoroughly enjoyed the month of May doing different topics from resilience to equity to diversity and men and women collaborating at work today. So we have had a lot of fun. So let's see what Rudran has to say. I know he has had decades of experience in the corporate world across the globe. So I'm really interested to see what he has to say. A warm welcome to you, Raj.
Thank you very much.
Again and again, we have found out that when men and women work together collaboratively at work, it is much more productive, more profitable. The well-being is at its peak. However, we are still not there. We are definitely work in progress. According to the statistics, less than 50% of working age women are in labor. And particularly with giving the COVID-19, the statistics say 1 in 4 women are planning to quit or take a break because they have additional unpaid work, which is caring for the family and household domestic works. And also there is a definite crack on the glass ceiling. But before we go into all that, let me ask you, what do you think? How can men and women work collaboratively at work? And what is your take on it?
I'm not an academic who has researched this topic at all. So I'm more of a pragmatist who has worked in the industry. And my focus has always been getting the right results for the companies or the industries I work in. So adding shareholder value is the objective. So when it comes to that, it doesn't matter to me whether we are talking about gender differences or other diversity. The only issue that I focus on is the team that we have. Do we have the right team for the job? And do they have the common goals? Are they committed? And are they performing to deliver the results? So we should, my personal feeling, I mean, of course, you may not agree with that, is when we talk about a team or workplace, we should forget the gender difference and get the right person for the right job, right? And whether that is made easy to the women or not is a societal problem. We need to address that at a different level, not at the workplace. If we try to solve those issues, the societal issues at the workplace, then we would be doing the wrong thing, and we'll be doing a disservice to the ladies themselves. The people I have worked with very many ladies in the jobs that I have done, and they are as committed as any male you would come across. They deliver, and because they've been handpicked to do this job like the other men. So I don't see any differences, and we shouldn't have any differences about this gender. We should just be focusing on performance and get the right person for the right job.
Yes, I totally agree with you. In an idealistic world, we would all like to work in a world like that, where it is just about performance and how productive you are, and you get the promotions accordingly. However, statistics tell a very different story. And the recent Harvard Business School article, they spoke about how men can be allies for women at work. For example, if men and women take equal responsibility and say, today I have to take time off or share the parental leave, or today I have to take my daughter or son to the hospital or the GP, and I won't be able to be there, and today I cannot stay back because I have other commitments. Do you think by doing that and being allies for women, do you think the workplace will become a much more equally focused, because there's no advantage and disadvantage of employing either male or female?
But you are not suggesting we make any special allowances for the women. You are saying, we should give and take within the team.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. So that should happen in the team. Not everyone is going to be able to work from 8, 9, or 7, for that matter, to 7 in the evening every day of the week. So there'll be times that they want to go and see. If I speak about myself, I've been working away from home for a long period of time. But there was one thing I wanted to do, that was to watch my son play cricket Friday evenings. So wherever I am, whichever part of Europe I would be in, on that particular evening, I would want to go home. And the teammates who work with me accommodated that, because I spent so much time on my own, over and above what is asked for the team. And they didn't have any problem. Similarly, for the ladies as well, for the ladies or even other men in the team, there are times that we need to be flexible. We have to be flexible, but that's part and parcel of the team working, right? It is not to do with gender differences. Gender differences, yeah, you talked about Harvard Business School reviews and so on, but why is it happening? Why are women not being there in those jobs? Is it because of the availability of them? Meaning not just the qualification, are they willing to take the similar commitment with similar sacrifices you have to make? Are they willing to and able to do it? And that societal balance that has to happen.
Sure. I mean, I totally agree with you. And it looks like you have been a great dad. But, for someone, as a parent, I can tell you, for someone to perform 1 day a week or 1 day a month, you have to take them for practice 5 days a week and sometimes 7 days a week. And who is doing that is the question, isn't it? So women have to take time off. In this regard, I have been very lucky. So, please don't come after me. So in my personal life, everybody has contributed to my child growing up. But what I'm trying to say is, usually it is the women who take time off more to take them for classes or take them for. What I am trying to say is, if men do take, like you said, like, okay, you have to go there, like everyone starts saying like that, then it will become a much better place, because women won't be seen that they are the only problem in the workplace to be productive, because men and women are taking equal responsibilities at home and at work. So, I mean, that is one way of solving this problem. Do you agree?
Yeah, but then we can't visit that problem onto the corporations, right? I keep saying it's a societal and a family issues. So we've got to get to an agreement. And also, between the ladies and men, they got to decide what their priorities are. It's an individual matter, right? What my priorities are and what the priorities are of the women. It's their individual matter. What do they want to achieve? Do they all want to be the CEOs? I don't know. Or do they all want to have, do they want me to be there for the children at the right time, coaching them, etc.? What is their priority? So it's an individual decision. So we cannot influence that, and we should not be influencing it. I know, for example, in Italy, I think they have passed a law saying there should be at least 6% of the board should be females, right? Okay, then that may be fine. But then are the people available to take those positions up?
Yeah.
My feeling is they are, right?
They are.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Yeah. It is correct. Yeah, it is definitely individual options. Some people might not want to take that CEO post. That is perfectly all right. We are talking about those women who do want those CEOs posts, and are they able to get and crack that glass ceiling? I think that's what we are talking about. Thank you, Raj. So, according to the latest report, again, 12% of women are there as executives in the UK, and only 8% of Fortune 500 companies are led by women, less than 1% by women of color. You have decades of experience at the C-level in the corporate world. There's asymmetry in the organization, particularly as they progress the career ladder. According to statistics, as we start, it's not so different. But as we climb up the ladder, it is becoming more and more uneven. So what is your take on that?
Yeah, I have witnessed that, but then I'm not happy about that. I witnessed it because I also have a daughter. I also am married to a lady who is totally focused in career matters as well. So, and also I come from a matriarchal family. So from there, so I'm not happy about the outcome of what reality is, but the reality is such. However, if the person is willing to make those sacrifices and do the job, then that person should be given every opportunity, equal opportunity to do that job. That's what I could say. As to why they are not, as I said, I'm not an academic to talk about the academic issues, but it takes a lot out of these people to do some of these jobs. As I said, in my personal life, I would leave home 4 o'clock in the morning on Monday, come home maybe Thursday night at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock or Friday night. Sometimes there may be events I need to attend. So at the weekends as well, I may be in different parts of the world. So it takes a lot out. And I have seen others as well, men and women, they have done this, right? But not many women would be willing to take those sacrifices. So should the corporate world change? I think that's a difficult question to answer, because people who are investing in these, they are not bothered about the gender differences or anything. They want the right person for the right job. And I don't think anyone in the senior leadership would be concerned about the gender differences. Whether it's a lady or man, they would go for the person who could contribute to the bottom line, the person who could add value to their company. Yeah. Increase value creation. That's all, shareholder value. That's all they are concerned about. It is my personal opinion.
Sure.
Okay, I mean, subject to certain personal biases. You always have personal opinions, but in the grand scheme of things, those personal biases will not come into it. Overall objective is they want to create shareholder value. That's their focus, because their income, their bonuses are based on that. So they have a driver that says, look, you get the results and you get the bonus. And their focus is on getting the right person.
Sure. I totally agree with you, but I think, with speaking about mental well-being these days, in every single paper, every single news, I don't think that is a sustainable way to work for anyone, men or women. So I think perhaps if we focus on that issue and sort that out, I think everything else might become easier to deal with. But I know, unfortunately, more people are focused on shareholder value and how much turnover it is and bonuses, rather than the well-being of people and organizations. So I guess it's a different place to start with.
True.
There is substantial evidence to show organizations that have created an inclusive environment are more profitable and productive. What is your take on it?
That's an interesting question. I have seen these reports, seen Harvard Business Review articles as well. I don't necessarily agree with their conclusions. Maybe the conclusions have been misinterpreted. There is a correlation between that gender inclusivity and also the results, right? There are two problems with that. One is, it doesn't talk about the causal direction. You got to understand what the causal direction is. Is it the increased profitability that results in increased gender inclusion, or is it the increased participation of women which is increasing the profitability, right? So women are not miracle workers. Let's not kill ourselves. Women are not miracle workers to make a difference. Likewise, I hasten to add, men are not miracle workers either. So we got to get the best talent to do that. It's more like the profitable companies are more willing to pay attention to the gender differences and get more women on board, as opposed to the other way about. So that's one. The second thing is there may be a third variable, right? And I mean, the same article, I'm sure you would have read as well. In America, there is increased ice cream sales is linked to increased deaths. So are we saying the more ice creams you consume, you're going to go and shoot people or something? No, there's another third factor, which is related to the heat. As the temperature goes up, the ice cream sales go up. And likewise, apparently, with the temperature going up, people are out and about in the streets and so on, drinking beer and whatever, and death rates go up. So there is a third, there's a third factor that explains. So we mustn't look at the spurious correlations. So for me, that doesn't give me the right answer. So I don't really buy into that. But what do you think?
I think it is because, even when they have done collaboration studies time and time again, it has come through that women have more collaborative load, which means when the focus of the company has been collaboration, women has always taken more load of the collaboration and made sure that the whole team is looked after. I guess because they have the carer role most of their lives, and I think they extend it to the workplace, I guess, which actually can be seen that they're not being that effective at work, because I think there's a book called Deep Work, isn't it? When 90 minutes block time, you're much more focused. And they did this research, and men are so much more able, positive in doing that for a long time. When women were asked, they always put somebody else in. If they asked for help, they found it difficult to have that focus time, and they contributed to their team, which can be seen as they are not as effective or not as productive in the place. So it might be that it could be the third factor. This could be, but because they said collaboration is great, however, they have to look carefully about the collaborative load, who is taking more load, and is everyone being equally responsible, or is someone just showing up for the meetings and doing the things, but actually some of the team members actually taking more heat and contributing more for this collaboration. So that was the another factor which I only came to know very recently, because I have heard about deep work and the 90 minutes, and but I never knew this that this extended into work and how it affected. So what do you think, Raj, about it?
Then if you were to look at a profile of a board, and if I were to ask you, what are the top 3 things you would expect from each of the board members?
I am not from the cooperative world, but I can tell as a business, I would, I have found, because, when people come from different backgrounds, whether it's men, women, or different cultures, they always bring different things to the table. Right. Some are more cautious, some take more risks, some are more people focused, some are more, product focused. So when you bring everything together, it is much more productive overall. So it cannot be a bad thing to have more women. And that is why I think I support those statistics, because I think, that will play a part.
Yes, you're right. But then in the order of priorities, where does it come? So in the order of priorities, what would you look for? A person's track record. They wouldn't go and say the first characteristic I want is whether it's a female or male. That's not what they look at. First is their track record. Secondly, their background, what industries this person has worked in, is he going to bring relevant people? Then the passion this person brings, the vision. Those are the things people would be looking for, as opposed to, does this person, does he bring that collaborative feel and look for this particular job? So is it a female or a male? Or for that matter, other diversity. Should I have a Brazilian in the job or not? Those are secondary or tertiary matters. Yeah, they're irrelevant, but the key things would be something else.
I totally agree that, it should be competency and outcome based. However, if it is purely competency and outcome based and nothing else is taken into factor, I am still wondering why it is so there's so much of difference on the top?
That's a good question, because I have worked in industry. I have mentioned to you, there were times the key people, I mean, at one point, the key people who worked for me, the 4 or 5 people, they were all females. Because they were the best people who were available for the job at that point in time, then that's what happened. Yeah, so we should not worry about gender differences, but what we should worry about is how to make them available to take this job. There are sacrifices you need to make. There are sacrifices the people are making in their lives. How do we facilitate it? You know, making the creche available for the small kids and so on. Those are things that could happen. But those are, is it that of a corporate function, or should it be a societal thing? That's something that we have to discuss outside this, as opposed to, if you ask about corporation, then the businesses, then I feel it's not the function of the businesses. But there are businesses which are making this available, but that's an extra bit. But we should not be blaming the business owners or the corporate leaders about these issues. That's my humble opinion, but I may be wrong.
And I can totally see your point of view. So you have worked in these organizations. Do you think these organizations can do anything to improve the way people work collaboratively, men and women together, collaboratively work together to bring about change in their workplace?
Again, I would say these people do not focus on men and women. These people focus on the team doing the right thing for the right company, right? The team building is critical. And those are the things we focus on. And in my experience as well, we never thought about, at least I had never thought about trying to get males and females working together. It's more like, how do we bring the entire team to work together? You know, having common peril, you know, have a task that is everyone shares, an objective they all share, an objective by winning it, you all share the same benefits. So if you have those common feelings, and then by working together, you are also going to be helping each other. So if somebody is feeling down, you're going to go in and take care of that person, whether female or male, it doesn't matter. So that is to do with the team, as opposed to the gender differences, or even any other diversities, different nationalities. Again, I have worked with various people, various nationalities. After you have built that team, you don't think of the guy as I will think of a name, Mauro. I wouldn't think of Mauro as Italian. Mauro is my friend or my teammate or my colleague. Okay, the fact that he's Italian it doesn't come into it. It's Mauro, have you done this? What can I do to help? So it's the team that matters, and I'm not comfortable focusing on these gender differences.
Sure.
If you're running a company, you want to make a profit, what would you do? Are you concerned about the gender differences, or are you going to get the best person to do the job?
Okay, so I totally understand what you're saying. It shouldn't be, but I guess we are talking about people who do. But do you think there's a problem with the talent management kind of thing, or where is the issue? Like is it HR when we are recruiting? Because it's apparently not, at least not at the lower level. It says it's equally distributed when we get into the labor market most of the time, at least in some continents. And then as we progress, are we not nurturing those talents for those people as they progress, or they are slipping out of the net for whatever reason, or they are not getting the opportunities to go into those executive roles? So what do you think, Raj?
I think we are coming back to the same issues. As they go further and further up the ladder, they tend to have to make more and more sacrifices, right? At the drop of a hat, you may have to travel to America, or from there to Far East or somewhere. Is everyone able to and willing to take those sacrifices? We have to be honest with ourselves, right? We want women to take part in this. Are women equally willing to make those sacrifices? Is it right to expect them to make those sacrifices? Whether we like it or not, we are different, right? And when the children, again, they want the comfort of the mum more than the dad's presence. Yes, they want the dad as well for other reasons and so on. At the same time, they want, when they come home, they want to see mum. So do I change that? Or do you want to go and change that? And how do we cope with that? I mean, there are lots of outstanding females. They're managing both these. It takes a lot out of them. They are managing. But I don't have an answer to that. Again, people have to make their own decisions and make themselves available for those top jobs.
Yeah, okay.
On that point, I would say one thing. There are differences in the countries I have worked in. Right? If you go to Scandinavia, for example, the structure is set, and also the society is such. There are more women willing to offer themselves for these positions than in other places. That's what I have noticed.
That's an interesting point. So what are they doing differently in those countries, but we are not, right?
Yeah. As opposed to, say, in the UK, if there is the maternity leave, long periods, about 18 months or so, is shared between the husband and wife. They are willing to do that. They do that. And that doesn't happen in the UK, maybe because of insecurity here as well. Supposing you were to take 6 months, you're going to lose out time in your career ladder. Somebody else has taken your position. So you're concerned about that promotion going to somebody else. So those things come into it. Yeah. But in Scandinavia, the view seems to be different. They are willing to take those chances. And that's what I have noticed.
Yeah, I mean, I would be really happy to live in a place like that where, equal opportunity for everyone, because, as I said, again, going back to the first topic we spoke about, men being allies, they are being the allies for women because they are sharing the parental leave. By that, they are making the employers understand both of them have the same stakes. So it really doesn't make any difference. Right. So, I am all for it because I have been a single working mom. And, first thing when we think if the kid is, it would be nice that we have a societal support that, where women are understood, or men and women, men should be able to take time off, that there should not be no stigma attached to men as well to taking the leave when they want to take. So, or if it is parental leave, they should be able to share it. There shouldn't be any issues men taking those, So I think it is a societal issue. Like you said, I think, unfortunately, we see the working world and domestic thing is way two different entities, but in actual reality, it's not. It spills over into each other. So I think if we start seeing it as a whole issue, and I think it'll be so much easier. What's your take on it, Angela?
This, first of all, really nice topic, a really nice exchange of views. As you know, from our last week's discussion on diversity, I am very much supportive of women, but I feel that I like to focus on genderless rather than gender focus. So I am in agreement with Raj, the way he has explained, and I've mentioned something similar, that when we are looking to run a business, what brings us together is the passion, is the skill, is the willing to be part of that company's infrastructure. So I very much agree with Raj, but it's not easy for women who want to dabble in the business and at the same time be great mums. That is where the challenge, and yes, the choice is very much to the individual. But it is very much true. Without reading any articles, if you just look at the family members or friends or infrastructure, women do have to sacrifice because they haven't been empowered early enough to be given the chance to say, you know, you can go that way, you can go that way or that way, or that way. But it isn't easy for women. I am from a very fortunate background where I wasn't directed or influenced to live my life in any way but my way. And my passion in supporting women is to so that they can exercise the same freedom as I did. I was able to choose to lead a life and not adopt the motherhood. I was in that circle to make that choice from a very young age. So yes, it is a choice for a woman, but it is not easy for a woman to choose. That is the biggest obstacle. How can we, as not just as a father or as a fellow woman or as a fellow human, but how can we make those opportunities, those choices easy for women and everybody else to make? Why should it be one person can easily select the way they want and it's the female who have to adopt? Yes, it is the female who can also make that choice, but how can we make this change?
Sure. Thanks, Angela. And before I will be asking this question back to Raj, but before that, I can say I was very, very lucky to come from a family who thought my education was important, my career was important. And I still remember, I wrote it in the article not long ago, when my dad decided to send me to do further my education, regardless whatever I did, to India. A lot of people told my dad, why would you want to invest so much of money on a girl's education? You could give her dowry and get her married. And when I wanted to start, get the loan for 100K and start my business, many people told me, oh, you are not going to be able to do it because, you don't have the support, particularly being an Asian woman. It is almost impossible. You will struggle and you will fail and you will come out of that thinking you cannot do it. But, these things sometimes do exist, and that's a fact. I'm not talking about 50 years back. This was very recent, so I have only had my practice for 15 years back. So I totally agree with you on that. In an idealistic world, it's like diversity. Men will support everyone to take their choices, and women will make the choices independently, what they want to be, who do they want to be, where they want to be. Unfortunately, we haven't come to that point yet. In my opinion, I might be wrong, but you have more experience, Raj. So what's your take on this?
I don't know about more experience, but my take on this is this. We have to accept the reality for what it is. Right? Over a period of time, we evolved. Man was expected to be that hunter-gatherer, go and get food for the family, and the woman was taking care of the family. Right? Now we have been evolving. Now women are coming out to work, and so on. It's a slow progress, right? And then for you to say it's more difficult for women to make that sacrifice of trying to balance family and work is not entirely true. It's the same thing for the men as well. Because if I were to do certain, or take anyone who is going to work for a multinational globally, then you have to make certain sacrifices at the family level, right? You may not see your son grow up or your daughter grow up. So those are sacrifices that the men are also making, right? So it's something that within the family, they got to agree and decide which way to go. That's a decision making at a family level. So things are changing, and slowly you see more and more women coming on board. And if you could make certain adjustments, such as that crash facilities for workplace, and understanding women have an equal place. There's the talent pool. 50% of the talent pool, we are not utilizing it. And if you were to make use of the talent pool, instead of them being just, being there from 9 to 5 in that job, if you could just give them certain things for creative jobs, which can be done within the certain time, you could use the talent pool. So we should be thinking about how to make use of the talent pool within the constraints we have, as opposed to saying they all need to be CEOs. They could be that designer of the next car or the next aircraft or something, but within the constraints they have. Sure. Can we make adjustments at work level in order to utilize that talent pool is the question.
I agree, Raj. But do you think, like, because women, managerial positions and the people who are decision makers or ministerial positions, only 28% or less than 30% of women are there. If we increase that, automatically when people make decisions and create changes, these things will come into play in the future much more easily.
Do you have to do that? I mean, if, as we said, if the people are available to make those sacrifices and get to those positions, fine, right? And if not, should we not be thinking about how to use that talent pool, how to reward them for the input by changing the work patterns? Right? Now, look at what COVID has done. Everyone is working virtually. There are opportunities to be had. Can we not use those opportunities? There are, for example, IT experts, right? Some of the ladies who are experts in ITs, the minute they have a child, they don't go to work. We can utilize those times, the time they have, by changing the patterns of work. Those are some areas we could be thinking about. But at the same time, yeah.
I said I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. At the same time, we should not be selling the case for the women based on false premises to say that by participating greater leadership at the board level, you're going to improve profit or something, or you are going to come up with creative solutions. Those are not proven, and you don't have to sell it on false premises. But there are good reasons why you should make use of women. 50% of the talent pool is there. So why don't we make use of it? Sure. Working patterns are changing, so we need to think of those issues.
It's really
Raj, if I may ask a question, from your experience from, let's say, 20 years ago to the present, did you find that there was a vast difference between, women who wanted to become a businesswoman but have the flexibility to raise families and things like that? Do you think it has vastly improved, or does it need some work specifically? What are your views on that, please?
I can't say there is a vast improvement between 20 years and now in one country. For example, in UK, I haven't seen that. Whereas I have seen the difference in different countries. There are more people willing to take to those managerial positions, say in Scandinavia, in America. And here, it's because of my lack of exposure, maybe, because I worked around the world and here much less. But also take the industries as well, or the various work sectors. If you take medical field, you get equal number of senior consultant in medicine. So they are going into that. So it is happening.
May I know, how is that true for the women of India or Asia as a whole? Because the family life is very much managed by the female member, as I perceive it. It has an Indian woman, has it been made easier for the Indian businesswoman to manage both? Because some of my collaborative coaches, the pressure is very high to follow their passion and be moms. So do you think I personally think Indian women are so strong because they're managing so much on their own sometimes, but I feel like can we improve Asia women in Asia?
I mean, my take on it is because I lived 30 years in Asia, in India and Sri Lanka, between them. And I know things are definitely changing, but I would definitely say it is not changing at the rate it should change. I know my mom went to university decades ago, and she decided to give up going to work so that she can stay back and look after us. And I'm sure she has a bit of regret about it. And, so when you grow up, all these things come into play, and then you decide, okay, you have to be a career woman, you have to chase your dreams. And sometimes, and I have spoken to, definitely Kiriben, right, individually, sometimes you wonder, did you make the right decision? Did you put the priorities right? Because it seems, like you said, Angela, you always have to give up one thing to make the other thing work, which shouldn't be the case. And I think, I might start to decide to move to Scandinavia and work there. It seems like a good place to live for
just
a woman.
Booking the flight now.
Exactly. And it will be cheap as well, right?
Can I say something?
No,
of course.
I need to say something, Raj.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for sharing your experiences. I'm sure you must have, had lots of sacrifices. I mean, in your family time with your children and your wife, and that's the choice that you made. But I also would like to commend your wife, who stayed back and took care of the children in the midst of her career. And, being, I'm sure she is.
Takes two of us to give her credit.
Yeah. And I appreciate that, you allowed her to grow. And while you were growing and with the children and the family, it is so many balls to juggle,
Yes, yes.
It's something that is very commendable. And I'm happy that I made your acquaintance, Raj, to learn more from you.
Thank you.
But by saying that, my mom was a working mom.
Yeah.
Okay, we had an extended family, but we didn't have help. Dad worked, mom worked, but what was the saving grace? We had a maid.
Mm.
But in this country, we can't have those luxuries. But mom was there for us, and she helped us, and she always encouraged us to tap into our talents, especially myself and my sister. We always strive to be that better person. But by saying that, you have worked cross-culturally, intercontinentally, do you think that Scandinavian, UK, and India, there is a different work culture.
Yeah.
But I think what probably the little nuggets that you can share here is, in the idealistic world, how could this be improved?
That's a loaded question.
So much for not asking questions, Raj.
This is why she waits. She sits and waits, Raj. Don't be fooled by Kirabai.
But what I have noticed with globalization, things are changing rapidly. Whether you are working in Scandinavia, USA, or even though there are some cultural differences, the people I work with at the senior level, I mean, I can't tell the difference where they come from. So their focus, their approach to the problem solving, etc., because their training is about the same. They probably do the same MBAs from pretty much the same set of schools or whatever. So whether they come from India, Scandinavia, USA, or UK, their thinking process is the same. Right now, having said that, everyone has to make those sacrifices in order to perform at a senior level in these companies. My wife made so many sacrifices. Yes, she has achieved a very senior level within her profession, and with all, we taking care of the family and so on. So yeah, thanks to her, and also take my hat off to her. But everyone is making sacrifices, and also the globalization is bringing things close together.
Sure.
Raj, Can I ask a very naughty question to Raj?
Yeah, sure.
Raj, I'm going to be very naughty here.
Yeah.
I feel that women, the perfect, I love power couples, and you will understand, you know, yourself and your wife may be power couple yourself. I love the power that a man and a woman, you know, in a couple relation, in a power couple relationship that they bring. How can I just feel we have to be very mindful of the choices we make in selecting partners. Does our success depend on the partners we choose? Sometimes it can, I believe, but does it play a role? And is it that in order for a woman to, let's say, as it's a woman-focused topic, for a woman to succeed, does she need to be really thinking about to select a right partner, perhaps? And did you select the right partner?
Okay, let Raj answer first before I say anything.
No. In my case, it was purely accidental. I didn't go out to select a certain profile of a person who would suit me or anything like that. No, I have known my wife from the age of maybe 7 years or so.
Oh, wow.
No. So that was purely accidental that we ended up that way, right?
Sure. I think, I think in my opinion, relationship is a topic I don't touch because I don't know success there to show. But, I think it is, we can't put our responsibility on someone to say it is because of our partner or because of our family, we didn't do what we did, I think personally, because end of the day, it is our responsibility to do what we want to do. We should,
but this is collaboration topic. We're contradicting ourselves here.
No,
female, male collaboration
is great, but I'm saying is, but however, we can't shift responsibility or shift blame to say we didn't get the right partner, so we didn't do what we are supposed to do. That is also not right, I think.
But it plays that when there are big losses, it matters then.
No, I agree. I agree with Angela because, I agree with you because, your husband sometimes being married, he encouraged, like my husband encourages me to expand my thoughts and do what I want to do because we are a complementing power couple.
Sure.
Likewise, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important because if you don't have the right support, whether at home or at work, you cannot achieve or you cannot fulfill your duties and also fulfill your opportunities and exploit the opportunities.
Sure. Angela, we both have to go for tuitions between these two. How they do it. The singletons.
I believe in collaboration. I'm a big collaborator. I'm a big advocate for collaboration. It is finding the right person to collaborate because it's very much experimental, trial and error. And I just wish there was a way. There was no trial and error. I just wish we had this. I have those traits will match that, and put it on the dating agency and say, voila, I'm looking for this.
Go to eHarmony Day. They will do the statistics for you.
It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that.
Just kidding. Of course not. Otherwise, everybody will be happily married.
Oh, we can't have too much happiness. Right. Surely not.
Okay, fine.
Very quiet.
Okay, Raj, you're bursting to say something. No, Raj has to comment on this.
No. There isn't such thing as too much happiness. So you have to make the most of it.
Okay, let me bring it back to the topic and ask Raj that, so we have spoken about various things in work and life, I guess, by now. And so if it was up to you to create these changes, if you had a magic bullet and the power, what would you bring about to change the landscape today?
From where to where?
To where we are now, because we are not speaking about the women who don't want to become CEOs. That's a given. Nobody is forcing anyone to do what they don't want to do. But there are women who want to climb up the ladder. There are women who want to become those CEOs. What can we do as a society, as men and women working together to change the landscape so that they can also thrive how they want to?
But I think we need to understand what the problem is, and then we start solving, right? So what do we want? On the one hand, we say there's a talent pool and there are women. Now, is the objective for them to become more board members, or is to fulfill their potential? Right? So in order to fulfill their potential, they don't have to be the board members. Right? That's one thing. If they want to be, they should be allowed to. And also, they have other the opportunity, not priorities in life as well. Not everybody. So they want to have a family, they have potential, they want to fulfill the potential. So it's becoming the CEO or something, or board member, is that the objective, or is it utilization of their talent? We should be focusing on utilizing their talent, fulfilling their life objectives, as opposed to saying, get X number of positions on the board. And if they are willing to take those risks or make those sacrifices by maybe expecting less from the family side and more on the corporate side, fine. But they should not be denied those opportunities. However, the issue is how to make the most of their talent and make them have a fulfilling life. That must be the focus. It's not only for them, for men as well. Men don't have to be board members, right? So if they have the right person for the right job, take it. But then you could have a successful life by defining your own success. Success is not defined by becoming board member.
Okay. I mean, let me put it in another way, Raj, because, we have 50% in the population. Exactly like you said, some men don't want to become CEOs. Some men don't want to be in the boards. Some women don't want to be in the boards, and some women want to be in the board. I mean, don't you think so? Then it will make sense that, automatically, if that is the case, if both genders were given the same opportunities, we would not exact numbers, but somewhat similar numbers in the boardroom, if that's the case.
But you must also understand the life expectancies and the fact that people are different, right? Males and females are different. So the male instinct, hunter-gatherer instinct, the female taking care of the family, those instincts are still there. So what do they want to do? Are they going to sacrifice the family-related issues for the sake of becoming board members? If they want to, they are available in equal numbers. I'm sure they will get the opportunity, because the corporations are not going to discriminate. If by having more females, the right people in there, if they would improve the profit, they would do that the very next day. They're not, that's the driving force is shareholder value for them, right? So whichever way they could improve the shareholder value, that's what they're going to do. So the question is, are we going to make many of these females available for those positions by making adjustments to their other parts of the life expectations? If you answer that question, I could answer the percentage carefully.
Raj, can I just interject here? We have a question from our Deva Priya. She's the president of WICCI. She said, Raj, how did you support your wife to manage her sacrifices emotionally?
Emotionally, I was focused on her career as well, as to what she needed to be achieving, and then how I should be preparing for her for those and so on. For example, if she were to go to certain management meeting, I would sit with her and prepare her for those by looking at various business plans and the risk assessments, etc., and prepare her. And I was preparing her in that sense. So the managerial part of it, and also providing her with the moral support. I would be the person behind it. I'll be her cheerleader saying, you should go for this and so on. So that's important. That's how I support.
How can we make that a common practice? Because you are a gem of a man, and we love you, that you are in this planet, and we want more of you. So how can we have more of you, Raj?
Man, I think I have said something wrong here. No. I know I'm interested in developing people. Yeah. The youngsters who work for me in the UK now, outside in the USA, Australia, and various other places, it's so fulfilling. When I go to USA, the guys would come and say, I'll give you a nice car and you drive around and so on. That's even nicer, right? So I was focused on developing people, and it's natural that I wanted my wife to do well as well. But
I'm not surprised at all with you, what you said, right? Because I can testament to that every time. I'm like, have you created that business plan? So what is the next step? So what are we going to do next? So I think he encourages everyone around him. So.
I think Raj is not threatened by his position. He's a leader, and he wants to lead other people into their destiny and purpose. And that's because he feels comfortable in himself. And we need
secure.
He's secure in himself. Men like that. We need men like that who will encourage and push
we need to clone Mr. Raj.
You guys are giving me too much credit.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both of what you guys are telling, because I think most of the problems come from a lot of insecurity, like Kirubai said. And I think if people are very secure in themselves and their abilities and what they want to do, and I think they will let other people be and do and become whoever they want to become. Unfortunately, that's not a very common trait we find. So
that's very true. I really do agree with that, because I have had bosses in my life in the corporate thing. The person who is confident enough, if we challenge that person, or if we come up with a different opinion to that, the guy is willing to listen and act on it. Is the other person who is insecure who would get really upset. If I were to say something else, you would say, oh, he's criticizing me. And so, yeah, you're absolutely right. You ought to be confident.
Sure. It's the new word of it's not the new word, but it's the most popular word of the 21st century is the emotional intelligence. And this is where what we need. I definitely love that statement. We need perhaps similar emotional intelligence, especially when, people shouldn't be worried when you're challenging.
We have to cultivate this.
Yes, exactly.
Cultivate it. Yeah.
But it's also about knowing themselves, knowing their strengths. And then if they know their strength, then I don't think they will have to look for that approval from outside, isn't it? They'll be happy within themselves.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's lovely.
Thank you so much, Raj. Had really a lot of fun. I'm sure Kirubai and Angela agree. And Angela is about to clone you. So be ready for that. So, and I'm just going to wrap up with one thought that, Angela touched upon the disparity between Asia and the Western countries, how women and men collaborate and work together and become more productive, perform better, and, keeping well-being in mind, particularly, given what has happened last year. I think this is definitely a thought for everyone to take seriously and, spend a few minutes to ponder upon and see, are you playing the role to create this change evenly, even in Asia? Because I know, thank you, Devapriya, for joining us. I know Devapriya is joining, and she's from India. I am from Sri Lanka, but Devapriya always tells she has adopted me as an Indian. So that's my second home, I take it. And so I really, really would love to see this happening and spreading across the globe and in Asia as well. Women are being seen that they have the potential to become whoever they want to. So thank you so much, Raj, for joining us today. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Kirubai. And
wonderful pleasure, Mr. Raj. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kirubai.
Having me, but also the last thing I would like to say is don't underestimate these ladies from Asia. Right? They are powerhouses.
I agree with that. I agree. Yes, absolute.
Don't underestimate.
Thank you so much. So we are finishing our May team for WICCI with this episode. So hopefully someone will take over and do what they have to do from next month onwards. Kirubai and I, we have decided to do some sort of roundtable topic going forward to speak about many leadership problems from particularly, along with men and women, they have different sets of problems, what we can do, how we can improve the productivity or, in different areas. And particularly me being a healthcare professional, healthcare will definitely come into play as well. So thank you for listening and thank you for partaking every single week with us and giving the question. Thanks, Raj. It's been fun. So until we see you somewhere, someplace, be happy, stay safe, and keep smiling.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.